So this is Jane Wright talking about a treatment that is very important for anxiety and fear, and for if you're going to raise children, it's very, very important. And that is, it says to assist in incarnation is the treatment. And what does that mean, incarnation? Well, we have many parts to us. Most people don't recognize that yet, but that we have a soul and we have a spirit, and our soul is in the process of being educated in this lifetime. It's in the process of learning to look around and take in input from the outer world and train oneself, gain self-control. There's a whole host of things that the soul learns, and the spirit is the teacher. Our spirit, our individual spirit, is teaching our soul. And that's the eternal part of us that's taking hold of the temporal part of us and orchestrating things that can help the soul gain ground rather than lose ground. And so oftentimes people have great trauma in life, and in response to that trauma, they develop what's called defense mechanisms. Very, very, very common defense mechanism is to have the soul leave the body independently of the spirit. That occurs when we react strongly. And when that happens, there's this feeling of kind of floating over the physical space rather than really being engaged in it. And our spirit doesn't actually incarnate into our body, but it rays in. It's sort of like a sculptress. You know, our spirit comes in and is forming and shaping our soul and even our physical body in the process. But so that people who have this strong tendency in a defense mechanism to leave their body, what's happening is that there's a kind of empty space there. And so our family of origin karma tends to predominate. And so when people are trying to outgrow certain characteristics that are present in their family and maybe are a step toward the future, but not where somebody wants to end up, then it's particularly difficult. With our children, if our spirit isn't really able to ray in and take hold of and guide our soul very well, children experience that as abandonment. And so if they feel their parent isn't really fully present, they're doing a number of things, usually some kind of shock doctrine to get the parent back, some kind of activity that makes the parent then turn their attention again. Either way, it's not a helpful thing, because the child really needs to be surrounded by warmth and love and life force continually until they're 16 years old at least. And so the tendency to excarnate, leave your body, not be present in your body, for the person who is in that body, it generates anxiety, fear, not really feeling able to steer their own ship, kind of thing. And so anxiety is one of the really strong indicators for the need for this treatment. When I first encountered this treatment, I was in Long Island, and there were these immense trains coming into where I was standing. The noise was so loud, it just knocked me right out of my body. And it was at that point I realized, whoa, I'm really not in there. And that's where the anxiety comes in. I wasn't afraid of the train. I wasn't going to jump the track or anything like that. But I noticed this anxiety. So it's I think give credit to the Long Island Railroad. So to do the treatment, you encircle what's called the mental body. Now the mental body, the one set of fingers, you could do it with either, but it's pretty much more comfortable doing it with the left hand. Your fingers are down the very center of the forehead, and the thumb is placed where the forehead curves, right where the curve first begins. And with that, you're holding what's called the mental body. And so you're grasping that, and then you're going to do something that is going to seem odd at first. You're going to be aiming or projecting what is here somewhere else. And in this case, you're projecting down to, as if you had a tennis ball glued to the tip of the big toe. And you might as well do that gluing onto both big toes. Because I would usually be able to tell my patients which toe to aim at. But this toe placement is very important. It's the place where our own unique relation to the earth comes in. So it's called the individual earth position. And so you're going to imagine you have a flashlight here, and you're aiming that flashlight down to off both big toes, since you won't know which one to focus on. And then you place your other hand somewhere on your body, it doesn't matter where, but you imagine the whole body briefly underneath this hand. And then once the hand is placed, you don't have to do that imagination any further. So you might need to do this every single day of your life if you have the tendency toward anxiousness. And the anxiousness will remind you that, hey, I forgot to do that treatment. And so you're going to project down to those two places, place your other hand, and just rest in that position. You might want to hold it for 4 or 5 minutes a day at first. You'll find that because it really helps your spirit ray in and take hold of your organism, then everything kind of flows better afterwards. There's not the same kind of general anxiety that's often present, and it's easier to steer your own ship. With a child, during the growth processes, a big part of what the struggle of each child is to take hold of what has been given them by their family of origin, which is their physical body. Take hold of that and start to try to make that into a worthy vehicle for them, uniquely that person. And so it could be for anybody, from a very young person to a very old person. And yeah.